Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How would you like to make your first million? And today we have Jeremy joining us from Silicon Valley, California, a business coach and a serial entrepreneur. So Jeremy, tell us, what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
That's a really good question. And I love that you look for the structure there, right? One of the most important things you'll hear come up again and again in my stories and the stories of the folks I work with is surrounding yourself with the right individuals. You can't go at this alone. You can't operate in a vacuum. You get exposure to the right ideas when you surround yourself with the right people. But what do you do from there? So you're hanging out with the right people. You need to make sure you're asking good questions and be really open to the feedback. Once you've got that cycle running, which you and I can talk, we could talk for days on that, right? Then we got to take action on that. So figure out what is your MVP, your minimum viable product. So often with our mastermind members and clients, there's this challenge of having a big idea and wanting to have the perfectionist approach for the perfect product to get to the market someday. But we don't want to wait for someday. We want to get you to market as soon as we can with the minimum viable product that can deliver value to your customers to the point they're willing to pay you for that. Then you can start iterating, snowballing, and growing it from there. So that last and most important piece is number 5, which is launch and then iterate quickly as you continue product development and learning from your failures with a short recovery window from each one of those lessons learned.
That's fantastic, Jeremy. So tell us, today we're going to talk about a little bit about the startups, yeah? And especially in technology. There in Silicon Valley, you guys have a lot going on. So we have, this is what happened with the, usually with the tech startups, right? So we have usually the situation that we have software developers developing a product, and they think that this product is going to save the world, right? That this product can save the problem. So they put all the energy, all the time, all the money, all the effort, and create these bulletproof products. And then, then we go into the most challenging step, which is a product that the team thought that it was ready to take to the market. The team thought that this is what the client is going to buy. And then when you bring it there, it's almost impossible to make this product market fit. So yeah. What advice, Jeremy, do you have for, and this happens a lot, I think 98% of all the tech startups fail. It's just because they're failing to do it backwards, exactly as you described, yeah? Put as little as energy as possible in this minimum viable product. Try to find, to listen to your clients, to see how can you make this product market fit. So what are the advice, Jeremy, that you have there for tech entrepreneurs, software developers? Actually, in this podcast, 1 out of 5 people that we interview roughly are tech entrepreneurs. They are, so which is say the other ones are real estate. So we can draw the conclusion, right, that in tech and real estate, you can make a lot of wealth, you can make a lot of money. It's saying in this broadcast, because often they come to participate, right? So yeah. Is there really so much money there? And or just it's a lot of money only for the people that they know what they're doing, and actually these ones are very, very few. Yeah. And
so what's interesting?
What is it?
Yeah. So I have experience in both those industries you've touched on, so I can speak to those. What's interesting is the technical founder that you're talking about. Even before we had software or SaaS or any of these kinds of things, that same entrepreneurial archetype existed forever, right? You think about the idea of the inventor who creates the better mousetrap. Same idea, it's a creator, someone who's building a product, whether physical, right, or digital or anything in between. So the problem I often see, and it's so sad, is you have a product person who wants to create the perfect, most amazing product the market has ever seen. And they spend all this time in the lab, whatever that is for you, right? It can be tinkering in the garage if you rewind back a few decades. It can be typing away into the night on the computer, right? Creating the most amazing product the world will never hear about. And that's so sad because we know how much time and energy and effort has gone into that. Meanwhile, the market's moving on. The competitors who have ideas but are getting them to market are selling to the market that could have been buying your better product. So let me pose this question to our listeners. Listeners, what's better? A product that you've launched that people are buying that maybe isn't perfect or is only in its first version? Or a perfect product that you invest years and a lot of money into that no one ever hears about? Right? So this all comes down to launching your MVP, your minimum viable product, in whatever that can be. And a great place to get these ideas and get the early feedback is sometimes behind the closed doors in a mastermind setting. Most of my businesses have launched from ideas and conversations I've had behind closed doors with others. Many multi-million dollar businesses have come simply from a back of the envelope idea, spitballing it around with the right group of people, seeing heads nodding for people saying, yeah, I would buy that, and getting an MVP to market with paying customers right from day one. If you can launch a business without taking on external funding and bootstrap that and grow that,
absolutely,
snowball what you're selling into growth, you're in a much better position than going around with pitch decks and ideas and theories for months to years, hoping someone will give you money and that your idea will actually get traction and attract customers.
Yeah.
Prove it out and then build from there.
I thought that was a very bad habit, but do you know, from all the business that I own, I never find investors. I grow them. I did one real estate. We managed to sell over 5 million. And yeah, we bootstrap. So we make the profit, we make some money, we reinvest it, we grow the business, we make some money, we grow the business. And all the businesses, those ones that have done well, also those ones that collapse,
we learn from those, right?
They all, I never seek for investment. However, I agree that with the good money comes and the right investor come into play, it can be a huge accelerator in terms of business growth. Sometimes it's more important people with the right connections. What do you think, Jeremy? What is more important?
I think, success can almost be a dangerous thing, right? If you don't know anything but, your one unicorn idea that worked really well, you don't yet know how to fail and learn from that and iterate. So if we go with the assumption we're all going to make mistakes, we're all going to have ideas that don't work, is it better to take a long time to slowly fail and then iterate? Or would you rather fail early and quickly learn and iterate and go from there, right? So we want to fail. If we're going to fail, which will happen, we want that to happen quickly. We want it to happen with as minimal impact as possible. And we want to learn from that, recover and iterate quickly. So if I may, can I share a story sort of one of those businesses?
Good. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So almost every business that I've ever had, and a lot of our clients' businesses and mastermind members' businesses have followed a similar path. And this is for our listeners who have businesses, might sound familiar. As entrepreneurs, there's 3 things we do really well that I think the rest of the world doesn't. And these are 3 things that happen in sequence. First, we see a gap in the marketplace. We see a problem. We see something that is not right in the world. Others have the blinders on and don't even see it. All right. So you see there's a problem or a gap in the marketplace. The second thing that us entrepreneurs do really well is we see a solution. We have an idea for how we can solve it or do it better than anybody else. Right? Not everyone can do that, even if they see the problem. Right? Some people see the problem and the gap, and what do? They complain. Well, that's not very productive, right? Mm-hmm. Us entrepreneurs, we see the solution to the problem. But here's the critical one. Why we all on this call have businesses and others don't. We then actually take action. We see the problem, we think of a solution, and then we actually launch a business and do something to sell that solution, right? So in one of my earlier businesses, we saw a gap in the marketplace, and we realized there was a need to do some training around a certain topic. So we decided, before investing really much of anything in this, to test the idea out. So we went out to our list and we promoted a live course date. We were going to run a course on a certain date on a certain topic. So our investment at that point was a sales page, right? and a few emails. And what do you know? People were signing up and they were buying from us with real money registration for the event. That's a really good signal. That told us that our idea and our message were a match for our market. And we were getting real money in the door for something we'd not created yet. Now, we committed to a date we were going to do it, and we knew what the rough structure would be, but we hadn't created a whole course. We hadn't signed hotel contracts. We hadn't signed an AV bill, none of the stuff. Just had the idea, sales page, got traction. All right. So next step is we start putting the course together so we can get up to that event and actually deliver on this. We follow through. Now, you might be wondering what happened if no one signed up? Well, nothing lost, right? Or what if only a few people signed up? You can cancel and refund them, right? This is all very low risk, very low investment for everyone. You're testing the idea out. All right, so we have our live event coming up. We've now signed the contracts with the hotels. We've now signed the AV contracts and the catering, and we are able to put together the course binders for physical materials for the course and so on. And we then go to test our next thing. The actual day of the event, when people are in the room enjoying the course, we float out the offer of, hey, do you want also a digital copy of like the recordings from this event as well? That was an add-on upsell, which if nobody bought, no harm done, right? We had a successful event. It was profitable, all was well. But what happened is a good percentage of the room bought on additionally to buy a digital copy of the course. So afterwards they could go back and watch the replays and review it again after the live event they went to. All right. So that now funded the editing and production costs to create the digital version of that course. And we also now had additional sales with the same customer base. So we are then able to take this new product we're launching, the digital version, and sell that out to the list to the people who couldn't join us or wouldn't join us in person and so on. And wouldn't you know, we had follow-on sales that came from people who bought the digital version of that course. Good. Success again, right? And those sales funded the production of the products to then fulfill. So then we went on and sold the digital version of this further out, and we worked with some affiliates to sell this to their list. Well, the first presentation we did completely flopped, like goose-egged. We had someone put out and promote our course to their list, right? This is their marketing calendar, their good name, our presentation, and we did terrible. Ugh. Well, we know the product can sell, but we did something wrong when we changed up who we were selling to. So we iterated, we went out, asked good questions, sought feedback from those who were close to us, and revised the presentation and went back out to a different list and started doing well. And every time iterated and changed and changed and changed. So I could go on, the story goes on, right? But this was a launch of another multi-million-dollar business, all around testing an idea out, iterating on it, learning from the mistakes, and having minimal investment before getting a sale, which we could then use to fund that next step of growth, and always delivering on our commitments to those customers that came to us and bought. And so this is a process that any of us can use in our business to get that MVP out there, quickly get the feedback and iterate on it, all stemming from surrounding yourself with the right people.
Jeremy, so which advice do you have from them, from the tech entrepreneurs that they are listening, or not? Actually, not tech entrepreneurs, because I invest in tech companies, and I don't invest capital. I invest in advice and help them to grow, and I take shares of the company. And when I started specifically in tech, everybody was telling me, "No, Harry, tech is different. The tech is different than all the businesses. These have nothing to do. You need to think different here." And the more I see tech, the more it's similar to normal business. It's the same principle which you're sharing.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have there for all these tech entrepreneurs that have put all the money, all the time, all the effort, all the energy, creating this amazing product that no one will buy, and now they're out of resources, and they realize now that they have to put some resources to create that list that you're talking about. And I think that it's more important to have the list, to put the money and energy to create that list, and have very little in the product, and the list can tell you how the product goes, that otherwise. But anyway, do you have any advice, Jeremy, for these entrepreneurs that they are in this situation right now, which is lots of United Kingdom is a big hub for tech. We have probably more chance to find a unicorn in UK than in London than actually in US, because US, they're all over. US is a big country. London is all the unicorns are there, so we are more likely to find unicorns company in London than even in United States. And I attend a lot of events. I speak in some tech conferences. And so what advice do you have for those entrepreneurs that are in this situation right now, which I know that there are a lot?
So in any business, and this transcends just tech, right? But we'll talk about that specifically. You need three things. Now you can get by with one, two is good, three is great, but you can get by with just one of the three, right? You need something to sell, someone to sell it to, and a way to sell that something to those someones, right? So an example is there are some companies, and I've worked with these before, and you might identify with these, right? That are really good at selling stuff, but they don't have stuff to sell or anything to sell it at. These are people who are like marketers, copywriters, right? Sales page, landing page designers, funnel builders, all those folks. They're able to take the thing you want to sell and sell it to someone. There are other folks who have a massive list and no product. And what they're looking for is affiliates to sell stuff to their list, and they make money that way. There's others of us, like these tech founders we're talking about, who have a thing to sell, but don't have a list and have no idea how to sell it because they're product people, okay? Your most successful companies will have all three of these. There's a list, there's a product, and they know how to sell their thing to different audiences, okay? So your goal as a tech founder is to either build out those other legs in the business or find those outside your business. So if you don't know how to sell the thing you've got, hire a copywriter, hire a marketing agency, right? Bring on someone who knows how to sell your stuff. If you don't have a list or an audience to sell stuff to, work with affiliates and resellers who are going to take your product that you so proudly built and sell it to their list, right? Find and supplement those other pieces of the three-legged stool, either in your business or outside of. But the most important thing I can urge you to do as a tech founder is to get your product to market. Don't worry about the perfect final form of that product. Look at what is the minimum amount of value you can deliver that a customer would pay you for. Deliver that, start generating revenue on just that small seed of an idea. Then you can build on that and increment it from there. I was at a high-end mastermind group, and this is one of those groups where you write like a 5 to 6 figure check every year just to go hang out a few times a year with some folks, right? That was a really difficult decision to make, to join that kind of group. But when I did, I was amazed at the people who I was around and who I got to hang out with, and the ideas that came up from those conversations. And one of the ideas was around a gap I'd seen in my own business that I just couldn't find a solution on the market for. And so as I was asking around and discussing this, I realized nobody else had really found a good solution either. So that led to one of those back of the envelope ideas we were talking about earlier of, well, what if I could solve this? And here's how I would do it. But now the question was, is there a market for it? And so from the conversations with the folks in that mastermind room with me, I found out people said, yes, Jeremy, if you create that, we want that. So I already knew that I had an idea that for myself would be valuable. And now I was getting validation from prospective customers that were saying, I will actually be a customer if you make it. So we're able to work on an MVP with some early beta customers who could provide really rapid feedback as we built the product out. And when we were ready to actually launch the MVP, before we got credit card processing online, the bank account set up, and all those kinds of things, we had customers ready to buy. So on the day we launched and started actually incurring real world expenses, on the same day, we had revenue coming in. We got the merchant account opened. Those beta customers all converted to paying customers on that day. And we launched out more publicly on that same day, and then got other customers coming in. So we delayed taking on expenses as long as possible, and we accelerated the launching of that, all from conversations in a closed-door mastermind group. And that created multi-million-dollar SaaS business just from shopping that around, getting an MVP launched, and collecting revenue early in that process.
Yeah. And then, Jeremy, now I'm going to ask you the question, you see, because I maybe it's a coincidence, but all the tech entrepreneurs that I see here that they are successful, they have exited more 2 or 3 companies or more. Yeah, They are more from sales and marketing rather than product development. So if you have your business, yeah, and you have the money, yeah, let's say that you have $100, okay? So how do you split this money? 50% product development, 50% marketing and sales, 70% marketing and sales, and 30% product development, 20% product development, 80% marketing and sales.
Yeah, I would skew towards the latter on that. And here's why. A company with just ideas that have never been built and never been proven out, and no one knows if they resonate with the marketplace, isn't worth a whole lot. When a company proves out that they have a product the market cares about and that the market will buy and they can sell to that market, you can fund development, you can prove out a business, you can exit that company, right? So think about the difference for our founders there who are, who have pitch decks and are talking to investors. The difference between talking about a theoretical and the difference between, as compared to having a product and selling it and getting numbers that you can then go and say, hey, we're selling this thing and here's how we're doing. We're now looking to fund growth, right? That first one is way riskier, way more unknown, totally unproven out. The other is actually showing traction and starting to develop. So I'd rather you as a founder went out there and got those early sales, got those early transactions, started getting early feedback from customers, started learning quickly what didn't work in sales and marketing and what did. That to me is worth way more than an idea for a product that's still under development.
Yeah, we're talking about resources, Jeremy. Let's say, because what we think usually is like what we talking before, right? People, if they have £100 and they're a software developer, they will take £99 to develop this amazing product. And then after the product is ready, no one want to buy it, then you only have $1 to invest in that list, to create that list, to distribute the product. So the equation, it doesn't make sense. So in terms of funding, in terms of budget, to make an analogy so our audience can understand, right? If you have $100, this is your budget, yeah? And you need to take this money for product development, for sales, for marketing to get this market fit. So you have to, out of this $100, you need to take some money to create that list. After you have to create something small to ask to this list, is it good or not? So how will be your distribution of funds? So the entrepreneur have an idea how to handle money, time, and resources when they're building a company, either is it tech or not, because at this point, I know that it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same, right? A lot of the principles, everyone thinks they got a special snowflake business.
The more I see it, it's exactly the same.
Yeah. So, on that scale, if you were to spend theoretically the $100 on your sales and marketing to test out your market idea, and then you found out nobody wants your idea, well, you've now failed fast and can relaunch with another idea because you know that one had no legs.
Yeah.
If you spend all of it on a product and find out nobody wants it, well, then you've also lost it all. It just took you a lot longer to do that. Now let's go to the more ideal, which is you spend your 100 on your sales and marketing. And what you get from that is customers who are saying, yeah, I want that. Transact, right? Collect the money, get them to make that payment.
And after you can do the product, right?
To create your product and deliver. And look, we're not talking about deception or lying here. Be upfront that, hey, we're launching this, we're developing this. Here's how you get in earlier in this, right? Here's what you get as an early adopter, right? You get to provide that early product feedback, right? You get to have a say in what we're working on. You get to be a part of this journey with us.
Absolutely.
Because if the pain in their business or life or whatever it is big enough, they want that solution. And the sooner they can get it from you, the better. They're willing to invest in you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So your clients are funding this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then you deliver on that minimum value as early as possible. Then they can start seeing that return, as it were, and then you build out product from there. And be transparent for our tech founders, right? You have an idea for a product roadmap. I've seen again and again and again with members in our mastermind groups and within my clients that the idea you have for your roadmap shifts and changes and course corrects as you learn more about the market. And just from one or two conversations or uncovering things, you find out that there's a pivot you never knew was there, right? Mm-hmm. And that pivot is really where the real business is.
Absolutely.
And that only comes up from those conversations 100%. You have. Yep.
Yeah. So I tell Jeremy, when I started my first property business, yes, and then I had to rent the rooms. Okay, I didn't know. Friend told me, okay, Harry, you can make this a lot of money with real estate. This is all you have to do. Okay, you rent the house, you make it really nice, and then you rent it again, and you make it you make a lot of money out of this. And then I say, okay, hey, let me do it. And then I have my first room, yeah. And then the first lead come and I showed the room, and it was boy, yeah. And then the boy comes and he said, I said, look, do you like the room? And the boy said, you know what? I like the room, but it really needs a little bit of painting. Yeah, it's not painted. No, I'm not gonna take it. I said, so why? I said, no. If you were painting, I would take it, but not like that. So, and then he left. So I'm thinking, like, wow, if I paint this room, this guy will take it. So let me paint it. So I'm painting in white, and it looks really clean. It was amazing. But then I bring the other next person is a girl. So now the girl comes and I said, look, this is a room that I'm renting. And then she said, yeah, but it's a little bit cold. I will take it, but if you, we were not even putting nice bed sheets on the mattress. So the girl told me, the room is a little bit cold. So I'm thinking, so I went and I think I bought for £1, like a flower for £1, and then an IKEA poster in the room, and then I put a nice bed sheet from IKEA also. And guess what? The third person that came, it was a girl, and she took the room. So
You got that early feedback on your MVP.
the
I love
whole
it.
point of the thing, but for me was survival. I was like, I needed the money. I need to rent this thing. And I was thinking, what's the point if I already know what I have to do in order to rent it? Why is the point for me keep showing this in the way it is? They are telling me that they're not gonna take it.
Yeah.
They're
Now
telling me. Huh?
contrast that with somebody else who bought into a property, they want to put it out there as a rental, and they're now thinking, oh, I should probably paint, and maybe I should, put some flowers, but I should probably redo the bathroom, and I bet the kitchen should get redone, and maybe I'll redo the flooring, right? How much money they put into a rehab doing things that don't matter, that customers don't value and wouldn't pay
They
for.
didn't even care because they didn't eat. They were young people that comes to university. Yeah. They stay in exactly what you say, Jeremy. People could spend 100,000 in a new kitchen, and they were telling me, I would say, this is the kitchen. They were not even looking at it. Right. Because they say, no, don't worry about the kitchen. We don't eat. What do you mean we don't eat on the street? We don't cook. We don't need to use this thing. So they also need fast internet. Remember, that was another thing that they were telling me. They would ask only how fast is the internet. I'm like, who cares? And but well, this is what you want. I guess the fastest one. And so little by little, I did it out of survival, and then like this, Jeremy, I learned a big lesson, right?
There's actually 3 valuable lessons I'm hearing from the story you shared, which I love, right? One is you got customer feedback early and you iterated rapidly, right? That's huge, right? You got the MVP out there, right? 2, you recognize the opportunity cost, right? If you had spent 6 months rehabbing the unit, you're still paying a mortgage, you still got all your carrying costs, and that's lost income. You could maybe rent it for incrementally more by putting in 6 months of work, but what have you lost from the 6 months without the income there, right? So there's the opportunity cost there. But the most important part is you got that MVP out there, right? You shopped it, you found out what was important, and you got a buyer. And boom, you started getting cash flow in. Especially for our tech founders who are building SaaS companies, right? All your revenues in our SaaS companies are around that recurring revenue. So when you get a new customer in, it's not a one-off sale, you've got to go out and find another one next month. That is now a customer where revenue is coming in every month or every year, again and again and again. Mm-hmm. The sooner you can start building that up and ramping that up, the better. Why wait? Just like a tenant in your property, why wait 6 months to start getting cash flow in? Get it in early. For rental properties we've worked with, you start marketing it and showing it and getting tenant showings in there even while you're doing turnover. Such that
Absolutely.
as soon as that rehab is done and tenant is in,
Yeah.
it's cash flow.
They can see, we used to do this as well also, we used to show the room already people painting it. So now it's clear that's going to get paint. The building is already like doing it. So, and then we said, this is the painting, this is the flowers that go into the room. So they already knew, okay. And then this is the photo, how it's going to be at the end.
See,
And
that's your product roadmap. They saw your roadmap and they love the roadmap.
it was amazing. We did a lot. But then, Jeremy, let's talk about the experience as well. We sometimes investors talk with founders, yeah, and founders are really good, yeah, but usually the investors are telling them, call me in your next venture, call me in your next idea, right? And sometimes the founders, they don't understand what they actually trying to tell them. What they actually trying to tell them is to get more experience in business. Because, for example, this one, I tell you the positive story. Let me take you, let me take you another one. I have this brilliant idea to open a restaurant, the first halal Spanish restaurant in UK. Yeah, that was
Nice.
like 10 years. And I had this brilliant, I had two Polish beers. The name was Mata. They were amazing. And I said and it was a Spanish tapas, yeah. And then I go there to the place. I said, this place is gonna be the best restaurant ever. And we're gonna start to do a guitar. I want a guitar on the ceiling. And the builders are telling me, Harry, you crazy? I said, no, I want a guitar in the ceiling. My builder told me, it's gonna take 2 months. We don't even know now how we're gonna do this guitar. We will do it, Harry. They will do anything that I ask for. But at this stage, they told me, we don't have any clue how we're gonna do it. But I was like, I want this guitar because I want a guitar on the roof and everything. Long story short, I lost 200,000 in the restaurant. 2 years of my life working from Monday to Sunday with no holiday, nothing. All the money went to product development as we had this, yeah. And when I opened the restaurant with the guitar and everything, not even one single person came in. And the reason is I didn't allocate budget for sales and marketing. And now I don't have resources. Everything worked in this beautiful thing that nobody want to buy. And it was tough to the point that I had to close it. I lost like 200,000. Guess what? Now is maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I think. Now it's a Chinese restaurant and the guitar is stayed there. The Chinese people that took it, so the guitar said, leave it. They don't even spend £1 removing
Right.
the guitar. They don't care. You know what I mean? They say, okay, well, maybe some little bit Spanish, but they don't even, not even $1 they have spent in remove the guitar. So my guitar is there with all my money inside that roof and everything. So, and I think that's this Jeremy, when it comes to that experience, then you realize that for the next one, how you have to iterate. So now this is my question. Yeah. How important is for entrepreneurs to have a business coach? Because the business coach is the only one, if they are willing to listen, is the only one that can save them this trial and error, because the business coach already been there, already know how things are. And how important is for entrepreneurs to have a business coach to help them to grow?
Yeah, I think even more broadly than having a business coach, having that advisory from others who've been there and have done that is so valuable. When we get together in a mastermind group, what we're doing is bringing together like-minded, growth-focused individuals, right? Everyone has their own different superpowers. And here's what I see. When people come into the room, especially people who are joining us for a test drive to try out a mastermind for a day with us, is everyone brings two things into the room. One is their area of expertise. They're really good at something, right? For our technical founders, you're probably really good at creating product, right? There's really good knowledge there. Other people are really good marketers, or really good at HR, really good at systems, whatever. Everyone has their areas of expertise and superpower. So you're bringing into the room the things you know that you know. right? The second category, and this is usually why people find our group in the first place, is you've got a big question. There's something that you don't know that if only you had an answer to, wouldn't life be different, right? See, when you don't know something, you have questions, right? You can search online with your questions. You can ask, a business coach a question. You can go find a book that answers the question, right? You have a pointed question that you're looking for an answer to. But there's a third, much, much bigger category. And that's where I see so many pivots and so much growth. And that big third category is the stuff you didn't know you didn't know. So how do you get exposure to the things you don't know? Well, you surround yourself by other people on a similar journey as you and who've been there and done that and have faced the challenges you've faced before. So when you're sitting around the boardroom table with 9 other business owners or entrepreneurs, they're all sharing what's going on in their business and their life, and you get to ask questions. You hear about a sales channel you never knew existed, and you get to ask how they did that. You hear about an approach to marketing or a marketing tactic that you never heard of before, and you get to ask questions and start implementing that. You also get to ask your questions and get unblocked, right? And so a business coach, to answer your question, has a wealth of knowledge, not just from themselves and their own experiences, right? But also from their other clients who are on a similar journey as you. So whether it's working one-on-one with a business coach, working in a group coaching environment, or surrounding yourself by folks who are on a similar journey in a mastermind group, you want to be around folks who can see the opportunities and the gaps in your business that you don't see with those blinders on, and who can provide that feedback to you, who can ask you the tough questions that might make you uncomfortable, who can challenge you and call you on things that maybe your employees and team members and co-founders and spouses and friends and so on might not ask you or challenge you on. That's who you want on your side. Those are the folks who can help you to level up and take your game to the next level and be better and move that business forward and move yourself forward. You're leveraging that collective knowledge and that wealth of business experience all around you that you don't yet have.
And I think that exactly what you said, Jeremy, is these things that you don't know, that blind spot. I think
your contractor who put that guitar in the ceiling is really good at construction. He was like, yeah, I'll figure out a way to do it. And he happily put the guitar in. But he's not a marketing or sales guy that's telling you you're not going to get revenue from your business if you don't do it in time, right? It's not an unbiased source.
Yeah. And then you see in this blind spot is where the wealth is. And I think that when the entrepreneurs surrender and their ego and they start to understand that this is a collective effort, and and you need peers, and you need a group of people in your same journey, because let's face it, when I started to become an entrepreneur, I didn't know anybody. Actually, the few friends that I had, when I started the business, I go there and talk about the business, and they were getting bored. So I literally, the few friends that I have in London, I lost them. They don't want to hang around with me anymore. I don't have nothing to talk with them anymore. So I have to start to find new friends. Now, when you look, I think that everybody that I know is an entrepreneur now. So I changed the peers group, and then we have this collective effort. However, some entrepreneurs get stuck in this ego. I know everything. I'm the creator of this business. I will solve everything. I know more than anybody because I built this. Yes, that was me also. Long time ago. I used to have hair back then, but that was me. Like I was the beginning. Like I created this business. I know everything. I didn't know. And that ego, what happened with that ego is that until you don't let it go, you surrender, and you start to understand that you need peace, that you need masterminds, that you need groups around you to help you out. Oh, it's painful. And this is a message that we want to send for entrepreneurs out there that are having a hard time, right? Let it go. Let it go, because otherwise you see these And it's sad, I'm here in Spain. I see people with the same restaurant working the same hard from the last, when we went to Valencia. Yeah, I went to Valencia maybe like 20 years ago, I think. And now going back, and then I see the same people in the same restaurant working the same hard, still struggling because they don't have time to spend with the children. They don't have time to spend with the family. And when you dig down, sometimes they have family issues. Sometimes they can have health issues, and their anger because it's pressure and it's tight, and the margin is tight. And I'm thinking like, wow, if you let that go and you seek help, minimum you can remove yourself out of the business. It's almost impossible to the restaurant running for 20 years. Still you're the owner, you're working there,
So it's interesting, when we look at businesses and the arc they have, there's only three directions that a business can go over time, right? You pass it on to your kids, which, I mean, no one really does that anymore. Sure, it sometimes happens, but is that really your plan to pass it on to your kids? And do they want it? Probably not, right? So let's just cross that one off. It rarely happens. Maybe for one of our listeners, sure. Okay. The other direction, this is where almost all businesses go, is they just go out of business, right? It gets run into the ground at some point. You close up shop. That's it, right? That's the most common direction. The third direction, though, is you sell the business. So given those three choices, what, dear listener, do we want for our business? To pass it on to our kids, to just close it up someday, or to sell it? All right, so now let's suppose we want to build a business to sell. Well, that changes your mindset, right? That changes how you make decisions. So to sell a business, 100%. Unless you're selling it to another owner operator who's going to work 90 hours at the restaurant 7 days a week as well, which you're selling a glorified job, that's not a great business, right? Mm-hmm. Unless you're doing that, you need a business that is profitable. It's a cash flow producing asset, much like your real estate investments, right? So that means the business needs to have enough money to pay someone to do all the stuff that you as a business owner are doing and still make profit. So how do we build a business that produces cash flow and profit and pays for a team to do all the things in the business, including the work you as the business owner are doing? Well, we start creating systems and bringing the people to use those systems in the business. And that's when you start moving on from having a glorified job with all the worst parts of a job and the worst parts of a business. And we start moving towards being a true business owner, which means you can step away from the business for a week, for a month, for a quarter, and so on, and still have a business. You and I were talking just before our recording about our summer travels. We were offline for 9 weeks. We were traveling. We settled down in Spain for a while. We got a place there for a month. We moved around. We did a ton, and we're offline for 9 weeks. When my kids were born, each time my kids were born, I took off 3 months. Now that's not 3 months of checking emails every day and text messages. Out. That's like offline time to be there to support my family and be with a newborn baby and be there through all the sleepless nights and only be thinking about the needs of what my family has on a given day, right? That is time I'll never, ever get back at any point in life. You can't get those 3 months back ever again, right? So if you build a business that can support you, you can, first of all, create a saleable asset so you can exit. You can also create a business that allows you to have a balanced life and be there for your family, your friends, your hobbies, your interests, and everything else. So think about how you build a business that supports you that you can then sell.
And also don't make it about you. Yeah. Because if you make it about you, you cannot sell it. I was speaking with my cousin. My cousin has a refurbished company, right? And he likes to work. Yeah. He likes to work there. He likes to drive the van. He likes to paint. And he was telling me, okay, Harry, I have so many clients that sometimes I tell them no. And I'm telling to my cousin, I said, number one, yeah, you're going to work every day there. You're devaluing your own business. You think that you're valuing, but you're devaluing your own business by you going to work. Huh? because
when someone else can follow your system,
you want to do the job, only you and your team, but you want to also be working with them. You are in the situation that now you're saying no to clients, and and you think the good thing, but let me tell you, you're devaluing your business because you're making all your clients, everybody that you know, that the whole thing you have to be there, and they talk to you, and then you have to work, and they only will be your client if you're there, and you cannot scale like this. And
yeah,
he took the advice. He's still processing, yeah,
yeah.
but
It takes time, right?
yeah,
But at least he's hearing you out.
what I
So
told him, yeah.
when you have a system that allows someone else to get the same result that you get, that allows you to start to step back and let someone else get a similar result for your clients and customers. But whenever I talk about entrepreneurial freedom, people hear two things that I want to correct, right? One is entrepreneurial freedom isn't just the financial freedom. That part's great, right? We love that. That's good. And that'll come too, right? It's the freedom of time, of optionality and choice. You get to choose your time, how you want, doing what you want with who you want. But that doesn't mean, and this is the second misconception, that I'm advocating that you should go sit on an island and drink, bubbly drinks with umbrellas. Like, we're entrepreneurs. We see problems. We want to solve problems. We get our hands dirty. We love this. We love business. No one's saying you can't be in your business or you can't do the work that you love. You should do the work that you love. But the business shouldn't be dependent upon that. And you should be able to step away when you want. But it should also be a meaningful place for you to put in work that you find fulfilling, that delivers value to your clients, that is good for you. So we love business.
Let me share with you a funny story. Yeah, this happened for real. That was true story in my property business. Right. So we have this property business, and then we have an office. Okay, and I used to go there and sit in the office. But because we were so busy, and sometimes we have like 177 tenants, they all want to speak with me. Yeah. I'm thinking like, guys, if you all want to speak with me, you're gonna kill me because I don't have time to sleep or anything. So I started to think few things. Yeah. One of the things that I did is I switched off my mobile, put it in silent. So since then, my phone is on silence for the last 15 years. And time to time I go, somebody, now it's my brother, and like, why you don't pick up my phone? Because now in Spain, he lives in Spain, and I just need to tell him, listen, it's for everybody, otherwise I cannot.
Right.
But he's getting there, right? But the thing is, what happened in the office, also by accident, few of the things that I did as an entrepreneur was by accident, because I was not aware that were peer groups, that were mastermind. I find out this like way later. I wish that I knew this from the beginning. So my things that all happened by accident. But one of the things that I did by accident, because everybody was coming to the office to ask me things, I wrote behind me, I say, don't come with a problem without a solution.
Yep. Good.
Right? Come. If you want to talk to me, come, but bring 2 or 3 solutions. Yeah, because I'm coming with maintenance property, I'm coming with sales problem, I'm coming. What can I do? And then the other thing is when I hide them, I realized that all of them, 100%, all of them, they were better than me at everything. I was not one
Good hires.
thing that I was better than them in anything. They were better than me in sales. They were better than me in the refurbishment. They were better than me in everything.
That means you hired well. Good job.
Yeah, I'm sitting there. Because I think I need a good salesperson. But I put that in the back. And when they come, I said, do you read here what it says? I say, yeah, do you have the 3 solution? No, I don't have the, okay, go back and then go later. On to the point that after a month, I think that they were making like a joke in the office. No, Harry's useless. Don't ask him anything. He's not going to give you any answer. Guess what? 3 months, 4 months down the line, I go to the office and they were telling me, Harry, go home. We don't need you. I'm like, what?
Good.
I said,
that's
what
freedom.
do you mean what do you mean we don't need me? They say, no. As I said, do you need paper in the photocopy? They told me, no. We can get the paper in the photocopy. We can get everything. Go home. And that's what happened. I went home, and because I was bored, I opened the restaurant and I make a big disaster on my life. But that's my story. But this is the true story, because if you prepare the business, in that way. And one thing, Jeremy, once you experience this freedom, is amazing. It's amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, it takes time to build it. We say fast, easily, but when you don't have experience and it's your first business, 3-4 years for me, it took 3-4 years of really hard work, like a lot of time. But wow, when this payoff, I couldn't believe that I was in my house and all this money was coming in without me doing nothing. Couldn't believe.
That is entrepreneurial freedom.
I should
It's
take the
fantastic.
money and go and travel the world. I did then right and open this restaurant, which I don't regret it, because the biggest lesson I learned about business, I didn't learn in this property business. I learned it in that restaurant. And now when I meet people and they telling me, no, I'm doing an MBA. And I'm gonna spend all this money in the MBA. I'm telling them, listen, if you want an MBA in business in United Kingdom, open a restaurant.
Right? You'll learn quick.
That's the best MBA that you can. It will cost you half of the money, and trust me, you will learn everything you need to know about business to make it work. The best MBA you can have. Okay, so
I
Jeremy,
love
yeah, go ahead.
the story you shared about your phone. I also am a person who the phone has always been on silent forever. And I look back, and one of the turning points for that is when my wife and I were first dating. I remember being out to dinner with this amazing woman who I was getting to know.
Oh my God, she was angry because you didn't pick up the phone.
No. I was at dinner with her.
Okay.
And I remember, I looked at my phone and I was like, oh, like a client needs something, 1 second. And I took care of one client need and I turned back to her. And then a different client thing came up and I looked and took care of that. And then I remember looking at her and my phone and I had that moment of like, what am I doing? I'm sitting across the table from this beautiful, amazing woman who I'm getting to know, who is fascinating, interesting, and little did I know would be my wife. And I'm letting an after hours needs take my attention away. So from that moment on, I changed it. We retrained clients that if they called or anything, that they just got my voicemail. And then the next day during business hours, I would get back and take care of everyone and all their needs were met. But outside of that, I got to have not business time carved out to be dating and courting this incredible person who, we now have a beautiful family and we've been happily married. Like things are great. And I look back and wonder what would happen if I kept going to my clients first instead of tuning into what was right in front of me.
That's what I end up in the people that this is a last message, Jeremy, that you have for, okay, number one, yeah, if somebody's listening, yeah, and they want to be part of your mastermind, your peer groups, your community, how they can find you and how the process work?
Yeah, we have a test drive process. This lets you apply for a test drive of our mastermind. You submit an application, we go over it. There's no obligation there. We just get to explore your business, what you're looking for, and see if there's a fit. If there is, then we extend the invitation to join us for 1 day of the mastermind. And that gives the group a chance to get to know who you are, to see if you're a good fit, and for you to see if the group's a good fit. If there is, then we have a conversation and it can extend the invitation to actually join the group longer term. That's all at bayareamastermind.com. You can find that application there. You can find all the resources and everything. And a mastermind can guide you the life-changing pivots that launch you in a totally new direction you didn't know was out there, and can help you to leverage the knowledge of others so you don't have to learn things the hard way again and again and again.
Yeah, and then I used to be part of a property mastermind. That was amazing. I find a lot of new strategies and things like this. I was amazing because a lot of people were doing different strategy and everybody were talking about the same. A lot of people also were doing same strategy in different parts of London. And the truth is, it's a space for everything. But what I learned about the mastermind is that what is a problem for you is not a problem for somebody else.
Exactly. Superpowers.
I didn't know that. I learned how to mastermind. Like I have my problem was that I need to find more houses. But then in that mastermind with people that owns a lot of houses.
I find
that
within
was
a
my
mastermind
problem,
group,
but was no problem for them. The problem for them was another one, that they have way
Yeah.
too many houses. They need people that manage reliable and blah blah. So I'm
Right.
like, wow, this is amazing. And
I love seeing those conversations.
Yeah.
We'll have a person come in the room and their biggest challenge is I need more leads for my business. right?
And then you have a lead generation.
Once they come in, my operations are great. And then across the table is a person who's saying, man, I have so many leads coming in, we can't keep up with them. We're doing a terrible job fulfilling on our clients when we do bring them on. And the operations person is like, oh my gosh, can I help you fix that? And the guy with all the leads is like, how are you not getting enough leads? That's such an easy problem
Very
to fix.
powerful. Masterminds are very powerful because your problem is not the problem of somebody else. I learned this.
Exactly.
Is one of the most powerful thing. And then Jeremy, 1 minute, 2 minutes. With message, I'm glad that you touched base. I wish that we have a week. I cannot speak with you for hours because this is going so well. And you're amazing. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. Because you're thinking, what would happen if I didn't switch off the phone, or what would happen if I keep taking business calls in the working, and then you are like 24/7, and then you don't rest. What happens when you don't rest?
You're in prison.
You get angry, you take wrong decisions, the emotional pain can become physical pain, and then you can get cancer, you can get ill. And this is a situation, sadly, that so many entrepreneurs, people that I know, that they have millions in the bank account, and then, hey, do you remember how this person? It dies. I'm like, what? And I'm like, what happened? What's going on? So even sometimes, even people financially free that they're working very few hours, but because of the business career, they didn't take care of their health, so they eating badly for so many years that now the body took a hit. And so we have sad news of one of our friends during COVID time that a multi-millionaire, somebody that next to his business was amazing, yeah, and a huge cash flow was doing. We were planning to do an event together. We also do events all over the world. And in the speakers and leaders, I train people one of the things that we do is to train people how to present effectively in front of the audience. That's why when you describe about the presentation, I'm like, man, been there, I know.
Right.
It takes time, but after when you click it is amazing. So then, Jeremy, what advice do you have, for last message do you have for those entrepreneurs that suffering and they don't understand that they have to put a limit and plan the time properly? And when you're working, when you're not working, because if you don't rest and your mental health doesn't rest, people think that because by being 24/7, they're running the business, and they don't know that they're getting so exhausted. Because it happened to me with the restaurant. I spent 2 years of my life angry. Of course, I was tired, working Monday to Sunday, you know what I mean? So what message do you have for those entrepreneurs? Because entrepreneurs deserve to be happy. Like you, they deserve to be wealthy. They take all the risks. So we really want them to be okay.
So for our listeners, if you're a parent, if you've got kids, right, you could put 24 hours a day into parenting, and some of us do, right? And there's still always more you could be doing. You could still always be doing better. In the same way with your business, you can be putting in 24 hours a day, and there's still more you could have gotten done, or more you shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? So the reality is we all only have the same 24 hours in our day. You've got to sleep, you've got to eat, take care of your body, you've got to take care of the business, you got to take care of the kids, you got to take care of your, relationships, everything. All these things need time. And even if you gave any of them 24 hours, it still wouldn't be enough. So accept the fact that nothing will ever be perfect or done, and be intentional with that time, right? Ship that MVP, bootstrap it, get it out there, let it start generating revenue for the business side of things. That's encouraging, it's motivating, and so on. As an entrepreneur, the good news is you're your own boss, but the bad news is you're your own boss. So from an accountability standpoint, if you plan to launch next month, then you push that back to 2 months and you keep pushing it back, there's no one holding you accountable to that. You can forever push on the perfectionist attitude. So launch it, right? And one good way to do that is to get customers to buy the product that you're looking to create. Because now you've committed to a launch date, you've collected some revenue, you sure as heck better deliver on what you promised you deliver. And now you have customers holding you accountable. And now you have roadmap, you're getting feedback, and you're generating revenue. That's how you can get out there, get it going. And then you put boundaries on that. You time box your product launch. You time box the hours of the day that you're willing to be working and present in your business. You make sure you also time box time for family, for fitness, for sleep, for health, for all these other things we all need.
Mm-hmm.
Box that time, and during whatever that time is, only be doing that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
None of us can multitask. Don't fool yourself and think you can do two things at once. If you're looking at your phone while trying to pay attention to your spouse, neither's getting your attention.
100%.
If you're on a Zoom meeting while also doing your emails, what's the point of being on the meeting? And how good of a job are you doing on your emails, right? So whatever you're doing, do just that thing, do a really good job, call it done, and move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jeremy, I'm glad that you talk about accountability, because in the mastermind that I was part of, one of the things was the accountability groups. Yeah, and I'm thinking I said this is the first time that I met a lot of entrepreneurs that were in the space, and I remember I learned a lot from the accountability groups. I was like, wow, why this guy only work 6 hours per week and I'm working like much? He has a business like me. He's not. So you start to see other people doing all the things. I'm like, what? That's how you do it? And then you start to learn. And something that we were doing, it was this accountability. So I remember we were keeping us. So some people said, what's your next goal? Some people said, I'm gonna travel for 3 months. Okay, great. That's your goal. Go for it. I'm like, wow, if he's gonna travel for 3 months, why that cannot be my goal? So, and then people were executing the goals and so on. So yeah, the masterminds also help you not only to break idea, but to keep you accountable in whatever your goals are and whatever to achieve the balance in life that you guys deserve. Yeah. So
Agreed.
yeah, thank you so much. So Jeremy, it has been a pleasure. Yes. Thank you
for having me on.
much for all the advice that you share with our audience, and to every one of you listening in Spotify, Apple, or following our social media. See you in our next episode of Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneurs like Jeremy break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.